Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. This is Ryan coming at you. We just got back from the Photobooth Expo. A lot of great people, a lot of great information. All the new updates for 2023. I had a blast. I was in Vegas. Definitely recommend going to it if you get the chance. There's not the next one's gonna be in London, but it was very phenomenal. I got to sit down with some amazing photo booth business owners. Some were making there was a few that were making, you know, it's a mixed bag. There's some people that were just starting off, and I got to have lunch with some people that were making about 2 million in revenue. One person was making 5 million in revenue. That's not everybody, but it was interesting to kind of hear their stories, what they were doing differently. I took tons of notes. I took 25 pages of notes, and it's something that I was a little confused about. This is a little bit like a success principle. I went there, and I think it was like me and a few people that were taking notes at this event. I was a little like stunned that like you came all the way to Vegas for a week to do this. Why aren't you taking notes? You definitely take notes when you're at these events, okay? Because there's tons of information. So today we're going to talk about 3 things to make you a better photo booth business. These are 3 big steps. They're not the like everything because I just have too many notes and I still am transcribing all of them. But let's talk about 3 things to make your photo booth business better. So number 1, you need to know the score. Now, what does that mean? It means you need to know your financial metrics. This is a big thing that a lot of the photo booth owners, are not fully aware of, and that's not entirely their fault. Unfortunately, this is something that you just don't learn in school. Like, unless you went to business school or financial school or something, or accounting school, you don't really know the financial metrics that well, and you have to practice it like any other habit. And maybe it's because I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and Increase Your Financial IQ, but this was a big one where all the people that were making 6 figures to 7 figures in the industry knew their metrics very well. So you need to know what's your break even, right? What are your expenses? What is your profits? And have as your goal, like, hey, for my first year, I want to make $50,000 extra profit, or $80,000 or $100,000. Okay, how many events on average would I need to do to get to that goal? Okay, now break that down into monthly increments. Okay, how many events per month? How many events per week? Usually if you're making 80,000, you're doing about 2 to 3 events per month, which is very doable. And like, how much is my initial investment? How long is that going to take to get to getting my investment back? What is, and then how do I get into the profit area? So you need to know those things, expenses, income, net margin, break even. That you need to start changing your mindset to being that of a business owner. Okay, so these are little habits that are going to equal. And I mean, I know this is not just photo booth business, but it really helps in any capacity, and it'll help you be a better investor in the long term. And that was another thing that a lot of people on stage talked about. A lot of people, photo booth stuff was not their only jam. And I'll get into that in another video because I could talk a lot about that. But that's number 1. Know your score, know your financial metrics. Number 2, understand your branding. The people that were succeeding the most had a brand that designated them apart from everybody else. Okay? They had something that was either it resonated with the audience, it resonated with their customers and their clients, it resonated with, it stood out from the competition. So the brand was very specific. So you need to ask yourself, if you're thinking of a name for your company, or you already have a name, what comes to mind? What do people associate with it? If there's a bunch of different photo booth companies in your local market, what's going to be the one that's going to make you stand out? Okay, so the name does matter. And some easy ones, you want a name that's going to bring you recognition. You're building your brand. And this isn't a short-term thing. This is going to take 3 to 5 years of consistency to build this business. But it's worth it. It's very, very worth it. So for example, some things that you can do is you can piggyback off of something that's already recognizable in the local area, right? A zip code, an area code, a local monument, okay? Something like that. Something that's going to bring some recognition. Ideally, it gives something of an emotional attachment, okay? Something that brings a smile to everybody else. If there's if there's like a local mountain, right? If there's a mountain, if I was living in the Mammoth area, right? What's something that actually brings stuff like Mammoth, Mammoth photo booths. Okay, something that's actually going to bring some local pride. So the branding is very, very important. Has to stick out. Number 3, commit to a schedule. Okay, you need to commit to a schedule continually to work on your business. Okay, now this means, like, obviously when you're working events, that's time invested into your schedule. But there's also time that you need to invest outside of the events: preparation, brainstorming, different things like that, your marketing, lead generation, all this other stuff. And statistically, the people that became millionaires in side hustles were investing between 10 to 30 hours consistently every single week. Usually it was actually more about 25 hours. It was kind of like the benchmark. But you need to be investing 10 to 20 hours every single week into your business, okay? And I love this quote. This is a great quote I heard. A living is made 9 to 5. A fortune is made on the weekends. Okay, so obviously you're going to be already working your 9 to 5. Most people, the 99% of people do this part time. So you have your 9 to 5. Okay, you need to put on your calendar what days of the week you're going to work on this. For me, I usually do Mondays and Wednesdays, evenings after work, and then the weekends. And so I make sure it adds up to 10 to 20 hours. And if you can't commit to that, focus on what you can commit. If you can only commit 5 hours, minimum 5 hours a week, do that, but make sure it's consistent. And then once you start like, hey, other things freeing up, then all right, I'm going to escalate to 10 hours a week. So 5 hours, put it on your schedule. Usually I do this every Sunday. I look at my schedule for the week. All right, what do I need to, where can I allocate my 10 to 20 hours consistently throughout the week so I can make sure I'm hitting that. If I do this over time, success is inevitable. So, make sure you're budgeting time. I would also recommend that you spend at least 1 hour per week, 1 hour out of that time, on brainstorming. Brainstorm new ideas that you can use in your business. Okay? Huge thing. I do this every Friday. Make a list. I just sit down with my coffee in the morning. I make a list for an hour on just all these different ideas. And then which one, it's like, then I pick out of like, the 50 top 5 that I think are going to generate revenue or, better the business or is an idea worth trying. Okay. So I hope that helps. All right. So those are 3 tips. Bonus tip, get a mentor. Definitely get a mentor. I learned everything from the company buyselfiebooth.com. I'll put a link in the description, but that was the photo booth business that I went through, where they gave me my first photo booth, and they asked her Marcel. She really helped me out, and they walked me through every single step of this entire business and really broke it down and consulted with me for free and really helped me out. So that's actually how I got started and how I got into it. So shout out to Marcel, because she's amazing. We got to meet finally in person in Vegas, which was a huge treat. It was really great meeting her. And yeah, I would recommend, they have great photo booths, but they also have great business tips and consulting, which is so key to help you get started. It's very key. You need to have that coach that's going to give you insight and perspective to get you to the next step. You don't need to know the whole plan, but you just need to know what step 1 is, and then ideally the next 2 steps. Okay, and just focus on that. So I definitely recommend Buy Selfie Booth. That's kind of the one that I've utilized. I'm sure there's other great mentors out there, but somebody who's going to kind of like, help you out and kind of tell you things, not always what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And that's very key. If you guys want to talk to me, I've had a few people reach out. Special shout out to Nancy, for example, who gave me a call and sent me an email, and I'm happy to chat. I love talking about this type of stuff. I love talking about business things and self-improvement and photo booths. So feel free to give me a call if you'd like to, I'd be happy to chat. I can't chat forever, but like usually I try to do like, hey, 10, 15, 20 minutes. If you want to ask me a few questions, I'm happy to help that way. I'll leave my contact details in the description below. Feel free to reach out, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Cheers.